the birthplace of the Bohemian Revolution. From Cowork 591 Studios, we are the Bohemian Reformation, the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, with producer Blake Tempus, co-host Dale Reavers on assignment on the campaign trail, and I'm Jim Gillespie. This is Jesup News for June 17th. Share this podcast with your friends if you can, please. Tonight we talk about Caitlin Clark. We talk about a special mom. We talk about the top 10 reasons to go to Farmers Day in Jesup, Iowa. We talk about why you should fish. We look at Jesup News. We talk about Farmers Day and Littleton Free Watermelon Day. And we give you the weekly update. The Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. We will be offering a community program starting in Jesup and expanding to the neighboring communities in Buchanan County. The long-range vision is to house a rural artist residency program for professional and emerging artists in all areas of the arts and the humanities. Artists will be offered accommodations and studio space in exchange for contribution of labor and maintenance of the buildings and grounds around them. Let's start tonight with a story about my second mother growing up, Jeannie McCarville. Jeannie McCarville was a couple of my best friend's mother, and she passed away recently. She was one of several neighborhood family mothers that I talked about. I've talked about Clara Sill and Joni Murray, Pat Hodak, Ruth Dunneman, Mona Hecker, but probably other than my own mother, Jeannie McCarville was my second mother. I want to do a quick word of condolences to her family as they're going through a tough time right now, and I would like to say I'm so sorry to her daughters Deb and Brenda, Carol and Connie, and her sons Rick and Danny. Like my mom, Jeannie worked full-time at the Evans Care Home, yet Jeannie always had free time for me if I ever went over there to the house. She was such a neat lady. She not only put up with the kids, but she would put up with me. She was strong emotionally. She was devout in her faith. She was hardworking. Like it was a time period, the 60s and 70s, where time women were mothers in small towns in Iowa, not only worked an outside job 40 hours a week, but then they'd go home and work an inside job in their house 40 hours a week and plus more. She gave unlimited love to her family. As I said, she was devout in her faith. Right now, my sympathy goes to her children and her grandchildren, and also my apology as I ate more of your mother's oatmeal cookies than probably all of you did combined growing up. They were wonderful. Danny, my friend Danny McCarville, he introduced me to oatmeal cookies at your house with coffee, and I would eat breakfast at home, then I would go over to your house and have oatmeal cookies and coffee. So they were the best. Jeannie McCarville, age 87, died Saturday, June 8th, 2024 at Acura Healthcare of Cresco. Jean Marie Allendike was born January 22nd, 1937, daughter of Bernard and Irma Allendike in Howard County, Iowa. Jean was baptized and confirmed in her faith at St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Cresco, where she has been a lifetime member. She attended St. Joe's Catholic Grade School and graduated from Assumption High School. She enjoyed playing basketball during her school years, and basketball was huge and still is huge in her family. She met the love of her life, Leland Bud McCarville, barn dancing in Lime Springs. They tied the knot on August 13th, 1956, at St. Joe's Catholic Church. Throughout her life, Jean had several longtime job. She was dedicated CNA at Evans Nursing Home for 35 years and was devoted to helping Bud with his auction business, McCarville Auction Company, for 45 years. Bud offered me one of my first jobs working for his auction company. When Jean wasn't working or volunteering, she enjoyed playing cards with her church group, sewing, embroidering, and knitting quilts for her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, which will be cherished forever with the warmth and love the blankets gave. Oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, so good. Red, green, sprinkled sugar cookies, popcorn balls, strawberry jam, caramel puffed corn were some of her favorites to make in the kitchen. She enjoyed watching sports and liked to cheer on her children and grandchildren at their sporting events, sometimes arriving 2 hours early to get her spot. She was a big fan and enjoyed watching the Iowa Hawkeyes, Minnesota Twins, and Green Bay Packers. Jean will be missed by her children Debbie Soblik, Rick McCarville, Danny McCarville, Brenda Kubik, Carol Sticka, Connie Kavorik, Olive Cresco, and daughter-in-law Kathy McCarville of Cresco, grandchildren Ryan McCarville of Cresco, Kim McCarville of Cresco, Kyle McCarville of Cresco, Kelly of Cresco, Cody Sticka of Paulina, Iowa, Casey Sticka of New Hampton, Iowa, Kelsey Nelson of Cresco, Heather Johnson of Cresco, Stephanie Sovereign of Cresco, Kayla Sullivan of Cresco, Ashley Kraft of Cresco, Zachary Kavorik of Cresco, Erica Reynolds of Cresco, great-grandchildren with one on the way, Sister Joyce Sweeney of Waterloo, Iowa, brothers, great-grandchildren, Kenneth Allendike of Buckingham, Iowa, Charles Allendike of Cresco, siblings-in-laws, Bernice, Dulcie, Lois, Sonia of Cresco, Iowa, and David McCarville of Waterloo, Dale McCarville of Cedar Rapids, and Jean Milne of Cedar Rapids, and many nieces and nephews. She is preceded in death by her husband of 64 years, Leland Budd, parents Ben and Irma Allendike, father and mother-in-law Leo and Teresa McCarville, son Steve McCarville, grandson Andy Sticka, brothers Don, Bob, Richard, and Dean, and sisters Doris, Marion, and Judy, and several brothers and sisters-in-laws. I'm going to miss Jeannie. We will be right back. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We are sponsored tonight by Reyes Concrete, the Littleton Lounge, the Third LLC, Littleton Chatham Historical Society, and Laces of Independence. Please support our sponsors as they support us. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. It's too bad Dale isn't here tonight, as we're going to talk a little bit about Caitlin Clark, and I'm going to try to put the whole hoopla of Caitlin Clark a little bit to rest. I love basketball, and as I talked about the McCarvilles in the first segment, they helped me love basketball, and I've watched as many of the pundits have taken Caitlin Clark into culture wars of our country, and it saddens me. The most recent issue is about, does Caitlin Clark belong on the USA Olympic team? And there are so many strong athletes in the WNBA. She is 22, just out of college, averaging around 15 points a game. But the pundits want to say that it is all a racist and a sexist thing. They claim she is white, she is heterosexual, and because of that, she's been turned down. Well, first off, let's talk about why she's not on the Olympic team. Here are some of the players on the Olympic team. Nafisa Collier from the Minnesota Lynx, Kalia Cooper from the Phoenix Mercury, Chelsea Gray from the Las Vegas Aces, Brittany Griner from the Phoenix Mercury, Sabrina Ionescu from the Liberty, Jewel Lloyd from Seattle Storm, Kelsey Plum from the Las Vegas Aces, Brianna Stewart from the New York Liberty, Jackie Young from the Las Vegas Aces, Asia Wilson, who's averaging 29 points and 10 rebounds this year from the Las Vegas Aces, Alyssa Thomas from the Connecticut Suns, and Diana Taurasi, that has won 5 Olympic gold medals already, is on the team from the Phoenix Mercury. Here is the issue. It's not about that Caitlin Clark is white. It's not that she is heterosexual. It is she is not physically ready to play at the Olympic level. Now, everybody says she doesn't have international experience. She's got a lot of international experience at her grade or at her age level. She's played a ton. I have friends that coached at the national level throughout the world, and I've talked to them about Caitlin Clark, and they've known her for a long time. She is a talent. There's no doubt about it. But she is physically not ready for the Olympics, especially with people like Asia Wilson and Jackie Young, Deanna Taurasi, some of those that are on that team. And if you've been watching the games, and many of you have, to your credit, Clark is physically can't take the physical game, and basketball, as you get older, becomes more of a violent game. Now, I'm not talking illegally violent, and they haven't been illegally violent to Caitlin Clark. If they have been, Caitlin Clark is just as illegally violent as those players are to her. She may be a little better actor than the others are, and may be a little bit more quiet about it, but she tries to be as physical, but she's not ready for the physicality of the Olympics. Now, Dawn Staley has been in charge of the the FIBA team, the U.S. team, for the last few years since Gino Auriemma. And I value and trust Dawn Staley running the U.S. basketball as well as anybody else, and her assistants are incredible as well. She has Cheryl Reeves, the head coach for the Minnesota Lynx, Carol Lawson, the head coach at Duke, Joni Taylor, the head coach at Texas A&M, and Mike Thibault, who is the one of the general manager for the Washington Mystics. They talked hard about Kristen Clark being on the team, but they know she's not ready. Imagine this: there are 12 WNBA teams, 170 players in the league, and and of those 170 players, there are players from around the world as well as American players. Now, some pundits have been arguing, well, the Olympics would get better ratings if they took Caitlin Clark, which they might. They'd get bigger crowds at the game, which they might, and there would be more interest in the Olympics, which there might. It would be an insult to women's basketball and girls' basketball to take a person that doesn't deserve to be on that team, and Caitlin Clark isn't ready to be on that team. The people that are on that team deserve to be there. And Caitlin Clark, to her credit, has talked about this. She said, first off, she needs time off. She's had about 5 days off since the Final Four until she was drafted into the WNBA. She's beat up. She's tired. To live off of her name, the WNBA didn't give the Fever a very fair schedule to start the year. And they because of the Olympics, they pushed the schedule way ahead, and they've been overplaying the players. And so you can see the fatigue in Clark and many of the other young players that are playing in the WNBA right out of college. Second, as soon as the women lost, if they did lose, the media would be all over Dawn Staley and Cheryl Reeves and Carol Lawson for taking Clark. Well, why did they take Clark and not such and such, who would have been stronger and physically and not fatigued? It wouldn't have been fair to the coaches. It wouldn't have been fair to Clark. Clark will have 2 weeks of vacation, and then she'll have another 2 weeks to work on her game before the WNBA then starts again. It's the right thing, and these guys that have just joined in recently to the WNBA don't understand FIBA, Federation of International Basketball Associations. They don't understand the WNBA. They don't understand USA Basketball. And they don't understand women's basketball. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We'll be right back. Some of our sponsors tonight include Joe and Judy Olson. They are great supporters of the Steve Brown Arts Center, the Independence Bulletin Journal, Derek's Repair LLC. He is a great supporter. He jumped on early, and he was involved with some of the earliest events that the Steve Brown Arts Center had. Please get over to Derek's and support his business. Keith Bickert always supplies the watermelon at the Littleton Free Watermelon Day. We have Jacobson's Fabrication Repair LLC. Donnie is wonderful. He does work all around the country, and he has always been a supporter of the Littleton Free Watermelon Day as well as the Steve Brown Arts Center. Donnie grew up in Littleton. The Even Events and Rentals LLC. Chris was on last week. Mayor Even, he supports us with uses of his tents and picnic tables. And please support Chris. And Thomas James LLC, they remove garbage from the Littleton Free Watermelon Day and also from the Farmers Day at no charge. So thanks to Thomas James as well. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We're back. As we talked about, and in the recent ads and in recent weeks, the Farmers Day is this coming weekend, and we are proud to have some events there. We have the Langs. We are sponsoring the Langs. On Saturday, we are sponsoring Greg Diedrich playing his trumpet, and we're sponsoring local guitar player and singer Chet Reagan. On Saturday, all three of those musicians will play Saturday afternoon. On Friday, we are having a fundraiser playing Giant Jenga. Come on down to the band gazebo and join us and play a couple games and get involved in our drawing for the 50-50, if you would. It'll be a fun Friday night. So I have many reasons for loving to go to the Farmers Day, and I wish Dale was here so he could give his. Blake, you may have some reasons why you like to go to Farmers Day. What's your favorite part about Farmers Day? Is it the food? Is it the music? Is it the rides? The food, yeah. It is the food is always wonderful, wonderful. Well, Blake, I have come up with a list of the 10 best things about Farmers Day. Remember, Farmers Day runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They end on Sunday with an ecumenical church service and an ice cream social with some music. But here are my top 10 favorite things about Farmers Day. Number 10, and I wish I had music in the background. But number 10, the work done by Alan Wright, the city of Jesup, and all of the volunteers. That is one of my favorite things. Each year they do such a remarkable job. Number 9, Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster is wonderful. I love their pizza in the middle of a Saturday afternoon at Farmers Day. They will also be at Littleton Free Watermelon Day. Number 8, the Carnival Games. I love the Carnival Game. Number 7, the Carnival Rise. Number 6, the class reunions. See, as they go through the parade to see the class reunions riding on hay wagons, that's always fun. Number 5, the music in the pavilion. Number 4, the Presbyterian Pancake Breakfast. I love their pancakes. Number 3, the Great Farmers Day Parade. Have you ever been in the parade, Blake? Yeah, I was in the parade one year as well. Yep. Number 2, the foot-long hot dog with onions, relish, mustard, and don't let anybody else hear me say this. People lose their mind. I love ketchup on my hot dog. And especially when they have a bun that fits those foot-long hot dogs. And the number one best thing about Farmers Day, and Blake, I think you would agree with this. I think I've seen you walking around with one of these. The Lions Club funnel cakes are wonderful. Oh, my gosh. To see them floating around in the grease, first coming out of the grease, then the powdered sugar on there. You know, I used to live close to Farmers Day, and I'd try to get home without eating the whole thing. I'd have to walk back and get another one before I'd get home. So that is the number one favorite thing about Farmers Day. Get to Farmers Day. It's June 20th through the 23rd, actually, but the main events are June 20th through the 22nd. Stop in and see the Steve Brown Arts Center, the band gazebo, not the pavilion, the band gazebo, and say hi to me and play a game of Jingo with us on Friday night. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We'll be right back. The sponsors of the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network include Boyd's Food Truck, Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster, which we just talked about, Dream Chaser Acres, Bobby Leach, and Farm Bureau Financial Services in Independence and Jesup, M&M Bakery in Lawrence, Kansas, and Innovative Wealth Management in Jesup, Iowa. Please get to the sponsors. Also, a sponsor is Legacies. Legacies is holding an arm wrestling championship Saturday night. You get a chance, get down to that. Sponsor Derek Marty will be participating in it. There will be also gunfights in the streets of Jesup during Farmers Day, and then ring wrestling in the Park Pavilion. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We're back, and Blake, I've been wrecked. The river's been up for the last month because of all the rains, and it's supposed to rain the next 5 days again. And I just came over the bridge on the way to tape the podcast tonight, and the river is just now getting under control. It's dirty, but it's under control. I want to talk about fishing a little bit and why you should fish. In our country, 53 million people fish, which that is 1 in every 6 people fish in our country. There are 1 million jobs related to fish in our country. The output of fishing in our country is $148 billion in economic output of fishing. So fishing has a huge impact. I look for fishing for these reasons. Fishing relieves stress. You know, many of you say, well, what kind of stress does a does an old retired teacher have? Well, I don't because I fish. Second, the food is fabulous. Now, you have to be a better cook than I am, but the right person doing a fish fry, the fish is wonderful. There are health benefits of fishing, from the exercise, from eating fish. The recreation is remarkable. Plus, we take care of our country. The conservation and stewardship, because people are fishing, because the DNR is investing money in the outdoors. Here's a little known fact for those people that don't know this. There are 10,000 walleye released in the Wapsipinicon every year. That's a huge amount. The DNR does a nice job of taking care of the Wapsi. Fishing requires patience. At one time, I didn't have the patience. No longer am I wrecked when I go home if I haven't caught a fish. You get a connection with nature, to see an eagle fly over, to see deer walking on the bank, to see beaver or otter swimming in the water, to see wood duck or geese landing and taking off out of the water. Just provide a thrill, gives you survival skills. It reminds you of what it was like when Lewis and Clark traveled the rivers and streams as they investigated our new country. It puts you in a better mood. It gives you vitamin D. It gives you social bonding with friends that you fish with. It slows cardiovascular disease. As you exercise, as you're walking to go fishing, as you eat fish, as you take the time and you are relaxed when you fish. It supports the Department of Natural Resources in Iowa. There's a saying, the tug is the drug. The tug of a fish on the end of your line is an amazing feeling. And the thrill to catch a fish of a lifetime and the stories that come with it are something special. If you don't fish, take your children, take your grandchildren, take a friend, and get out and go fishing. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We'll be back after this word. Don't forget, the Littleton Free Watermelon Day is July 27th from noon until 8. There will be music, there will be artists, there will be food trucks, there will be drink. Get out and enjoy a wonderful summer day in Iowa, as this is the second annual Steve Brown Arts Center sponsored Littleton Free Watermelon Day. Many of the sponsors we talked about earlier are also sponsors of Watermelon Day, and you need to get to those. People like Tony Bankston at the Littleton Chatham Historical Society, Gail and Bob at Littleton Lounge, LLC, Ron Reyes at Reyes Concrete, Donnie Jacobson at Jacobson Fabrication Repair, Derek Marty at Derek's Repair, LLC. The Independence Bulletin Journal is always a wonderful sponsor, and we'd like to send our sympathies out to John Klotzbach. John has been a great sponsor and a great follower of the Steve Brown Arts Center, and he's put several great articles in the paper for us. And he just lost his mother at 95, and I don't care if you're 95 or 55. If you lose your mother, it's a hard time, and we want to give our sympathy to John. As he does a great job for us there at the Independence Bulletin Journal. One obituary from White's Funeral Home. Eleanor Jean Weber, 93 years old, of Jesup, Iowa, died Sunday, June 9th at her home. Eleanor was born July 15th, 1930 at Dunkerton in Black Hawk County, the daughter of Edwin Mixdorf and Elvina C. Mixdorf. On November 26, 1952, she was united in marriage to Kenny Weber of Waterloo, Iowa. She was a homemaker and a farm wife. Eleanor enjoyed sporting events and other social events, including sightseeing in the mountains during their trips with relatives and friends to Las Vegas. She was a member of the St. Athanasius Catholic Church in Jesup. Eleanor is survived by her husband, Kenny Weber of Jesup, 2 daughters, Susan Emmerich of Waterloo, Kieran Weber of Cedar Rapids, 2 sons, Steve Weber of Jesup and Mark Weber of Jesup. 6 grandchildren, 7 great-grandchildren. She is preceded in death by 1 son, Danny Weber, her parents, and 1 sister, Dorothy Eichhoff. Memorials may be directed to the family. One of the final things I want to talk about tonight are what motivated us to start the Steve Brown Arts Center. And this is something for those of you that face anxiety, and I guarantee you anxiety comes with not only running an arts center, but many jobs. And we've talked about anxiety on here before. And over the years, I have struggled with anxiety. Most recently, I've learned ways to deal with that anxiety. And so I wanted to share those with you. There are 12 things that you can do to avoid anxiety. First off, don't let negative touch you. People are going to say negative things about you. See the good things. Enjoy the good things. You can control that anxiety if you don't allow negativity into your life. Second, remember, and it took me a long time to remember this, Blake. This is a great advice for a recent graduate. A lot of rules are illusions. You know, I can remember growing up, my mother not wanting to go too late to church because she wanted to sit in the back of the church so she didn't have to walk in front of people, and she feared people would talk about us. And that was an illusion. People have enough other things to worry about. They don't care about you. If they cared about you, they'd be there for you. So rules are illusions. Number 3, way to avoid anxiety is to slow down. Don't be in a hurry. You don't have to rush. The special forces have a great saying as they prepare for battles. Don't run to your death. Slow down. Take your time. You don't have to overdo things. Number 4, be selective in what you do. You don't have to say yes to everything. People ask for a lot of things, and if you say yes, they will ask for more. Be selective in what you do. That reduces anxiety. 5, get good at causing trouble and apologizing. Sometimes you're not going to understand something, and there will be no one there to help you. So you have to do it without being told how to do it. Well, I advise you to do it, and if you do it wrong, you apologize. There's nothing wrong with failing if you have the best intention. Number 6, stay away from average. If you see average people, those average people would rather you be average too. That way, in their minds, and again, it is all about judgmental. It's their minds, and in their minds, they don't look bad. So avoid average people. Number 7, fear is growth. Fear is a good thing. Maybe the best thing. Maybe a better word for fear is respect. Respect opponents. Respect challenges. Number 8, chase your obsessions. If you're obsessed with something, you love it. Well, be good at it. If you're obsessed with it, then chase it. Don't just obsess about it. Don't think about it. Do things. Number 9, tell people your thoughts, but be respectful about it. Number 10, turn oppression into free energy. If you think people are keeping you down, then turn that into energy. Find a way. You can find a way. I was talking to a friend recently. We are our best advocates. We are our best moneymakers. Number 11, you can change the world with actions, not opinion. Rather than giving your opinion, act on your opinion. action is the best route. If you want to change the world, act. A lot of people can talk. A lot of people can complain. To Chris Evans' credit, he is the mayor. To many of the guys on, and right now it's males on the city council. To many of the men on the city council's credit, they are there. They act. Well, if you don't like what they're doing, run against them. They had to write people in this time, this session. Remember, you change the world with actions, not opinions. Number 12, lean into uncertainty. If you're uncertain, don't turn away from it. Step toward it. I believe in system basketball. In system basketball, they step forward in defense. They don't drop back in defense. Lean into uncertainty. Be aggressive. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. If you're interested and you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the SteveBrownArtsCenter.org and follow the link. Follow us on social media as Josie Lloyd runs our Facebook page and Karen Masteller runs our website. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@SteveBrownArtsCenter.org or call me at 319-290-0241 and leave a message. I'm Jim Gillespie. Hopefully Dale's back off the campaign trail next week. I'm here with producer Blake Tempus. As I always like to thank Kelly C. Haas for allowing to use Cowork 591 Studios. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your day. And remember this, and I always mean this, each day is about little victories.